are marketed more in those festivals, so that is contradictory. So without wasting much time, I would like to communicate my regards to Dr. Sakat Kumar Basuji, Dr. Rambir Sharma sir, Dr. Nishan Shukla ji, Dr. Neelam Modji, previous speaker, great, Dr. Kamna Gautam ji. Welcome, welcome all, and Dr. Sakat Kumar Basuji. Welcome, Dr. Sakat. Am I audible to you, Dr. Sakat ji? Dr. Sakat Kumar Basuji. क्या टेक्निक? Welcome, welcome, Dr. Suparna Sanyal Mukherjee, madam. So we would like to welcome our first speaker of the webinar. Welcome, madam, Dr. Suparna Sanyal Mukherjee, madam, from Kolpur. Welcome.
Okay. Very good evening. Shubho Sharadya to the all dignitaries here. Thank you very much for giving me another opportunity on this auspicious platform. Today's topic is very important and very to the point. At the same time, it is a very innovative topic right at this moment. So, users of contraceptives and the family planning is a rich sources of knowledge and the ideological point of view when we are thinking about it. Especially the civilized people, those who are living in the urbanized people or the urban area or the people those who are educated, they used at the same time the contraceptives. And the ideology was generated and awareness program has been incorporated among them and they are using the contraceptives. But it has been observed in the rural India or the rural cases or those who don't have the illiterate people, though they don't have any idea, and especially the tribal people, those who are illiterate and they don't have any senses. That's why they are not using any contraceptives. They have don't have any ideological point of view regarding the contraceptives. But it is also a very important part of that. Though they don't have any contraceptives using and any type of the health measure, the reproductive measure, but they are very. It is very ritual way the social religious practice and socio cultural practice protect them for the uh, you know development, protect them from the uses of the and the reproductive restriction and restoration of reproductive processes. So how it has been possible? The people, those who are very close to the nature, they have the practice. Practice means though it is the polygamy and polyandry is also permissible in their cases, but they very much ritualistic because this ritualistic aspect and the rites, customs bar them. They have protected them from the uses and the reproductive process. But still, they have the ideological point of view and they have the conception like that if they can bear a single child, that single child is a 1 rupee for them because for the socio-economic pattern, because the person will earn from them where they cannot earn it. If they can give birth of the 10 children, that means their thinking is that 10 rupees they can earn. So this 1 rupee and 10 rupees difference, they are producing the child to children. So this is their lack of awareness in literacy system. but how they can control the family, how they are adopting the family planning. Tubectomy, vasectomy is forcefully introduced among them. Still, they are, though it is not practicing very quite often, very often, but still they are rehabilitating and they are restoring their reproductive process by the natural phenomenon. Just because when they attain the puberty, there is a tribal system, there is a, known as the Ghotul. Ghotul is a free mixing center. And this feed mixing center, when the child or especially the female attain the puberty, they have the liberty to mix of any kind of male counterpart. And they used to go to the Ghotul, and Ghotul is giving them permission. They can free mix, and how many days they like to stay, the Ghotul will give them the permission. And after the Ghotul attending, if a girl or the female counterpart attain the pregnancy, and then she can come back to the village. And the village chief person or the village head, he will decide who will take care of this child parentship. That means who will be the father. So might be that person, female get the pregnant, that person may accept it, may not, but it doesn't matter. But the person, someone will accept that child and he will become the father. So this is the system, the go-to system, the free mix system is also allowing in the tribal society, especially the Abjimaria tribal society, egalitarian society, they also follow like that. So will you say that it is a bad habit, ill intention? No. They have the rights custom, they are practicing, and they are in the reproductive process, and they are maintaining their reproduction. But after getting the childbirth, when the person is accepting the child of fatherhood and the motherhood of the female, they cannot go any other, they cannot practice any polygamy or polyandry. But they are getting in family life. So family life started from there. So in this way, the reproductive process, they are also using the trees bark, the leaves. They are protecting themselves. They're using the medicinal herbs, and these herbs are also protecting them from the different types of uh, several reproductive system and several attendance of pregnancy. So that's why the uses of contraceptive is a high quality life, and they are also introducing themselves. But instead of contraceptives, the traditional way, there is also a process, also a system by which the natural system by which the people, those who are not literate, they can respect and protect themselves from this the multiple reproduction. So that's why it is a very important for the part of if we can develop the indigenous technology. And this indigenous technology is highly influential and highly recognized, and we can recognize it. And it is also the Indian knowledge system, enhance the knowledge system. So how they are maintaining their reproductive life and safe reproduction and safe giving birth of the child, because it is the nature, the baby will take birth in the nature, and there is no medical treatment. There is indigenous treatment by which they are getting antiseptic they are using, and they are living their healthy and peaceful life. Thank you very much. Thanks for giving me such an opportunity.
थैंक यू मैडम, थैंक यू वेरी मच। आप जब भी बोलते हैं बहुत अच्छा बोलते हैं टॉपिक पर। मैं अब डॉक्टर शैकत बसु जी को सादर आमंत्रित करता हूँ। वेलकम डॉक्टर शैकत।
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sharma. Well, it's a privilege once again to be on your platform. Thank you very much. And wish you everyone our happy Navaratri and the festive season that we are currently pursuing. So pray to Almighty that everyone has a very good time during the vacation. Everyone stays healthy and enjoys time with their family and enjoy the worship period that we are encountering right at this moment. So thank you very much once again. Um, Regarding contraceptives, as Madam has very nicely highlighted about the Aboriginal and tribal use of contraceptive, the conception, and about traditional Indian knowledge, I'm just going to highlight a little bit of comparative use of contraceptives, the conception between India and vis-a-vis Western cultures and stuff. So, starting with the point, one of the very important things that I have learned through my discourse in the Western countries, through my education and stuff, is that having sex is a very normal part of an individual life. We all have evolved in this planet because someone had sex. Our parents had sex. That's why I am here. My grandparents had sex so that my father and mother were there. There is no shame. There is nothing to be ashamed of, and there is nothing to hide about this. The Western generations and culture have accepted that it is very common for people to get into intimate relationship between a man and woman, between woman to woman, and between man to man. While there is no harm in within the legal framework of our society to be intimate with one another, but there are always dangers of various serious sexual diseases being transmitted throughout our society if this act is unrestricted. If you look into colonial past, if you look into history of Europe, if you look in even into our history and stuff, at one point of time, when polygamy was a big part that in societies where one man used to have many women, or in some rare societies where one woman would have been associated with many men, or with the construction of prostitution, which is the oldest industry of the world, as is being said in every scriptures, literature, and historic documents, you will see that when there is unrestricted sex between two sexes, there has always been a danger of sexual transmission of diseases, and also why we have had contraceptives is to control population. So to use contraceptives, one of the basic tenets that is necessary is education and awareness. Now, this is something which is lacking in many developing and underdeveloped countries, including India, where sex education is being denied for generations. It's 77, 78 years post-independence. Even our new education policy in NEP 2020 talks about the introduction of the sex education, but we are very much shy about this. So such kind of education is not practiced in most of our schools and stuff. And if it is any kind of a religious school, particularly if it's a missionary school or a Hindu missionary school or an Islamic school or something like that, then it's a no-no part. The challenge is when the kids are growing up, it is quite natural for them that once they hit their teen ages, they will have a hormonal blush or a hormonal rush, and there will be sexual interest growing into them. It's a part of the hormone. Each one of us have gone through the way, and hundreds and thousands generations after that will have to go through the same way. Now, the challenge is modern Western education says that for the children, when they're entering into the teen ages, as their hormones are leveling, they're getting into a stages, subsequent stages of becoming sexually mature. There are questions that come into their mind. There are fears that come into their mind. There are hormonal, because of this appealing of the hormonal, there are questions. There are trauma in their mental system. Sometimes they're abused. They are not being even able to identify whether they're being abused, because there is no way to get education for them. Our schools do not provide any education. Our parents do not provide us with any education. And so the only education is a third-hand education, and it is from your friends. It is from like cheap booklets, unscientific booklets, and other resources which are not acceptable and which are also detrimental for the mental growth of a young individual. But because we do not have any proper sex education system in our country, the the vices of this situation is that the people fall in bad hands. They're going to people who are giving them wrong advices. They're following methods which are very wrong practices and are getting into more and more trouble. A very fundamental basic sex education in that particular sense, even if it was possible to give a male and female separate classes, female teachers giving a sex education classes to the female students, male education teachers giving classes to the male students, even if this model could have been followed in our schools or colleges, we would have had some kind of basic maturity that we have been able to introduce into our kids. This is the reason contraceptives remain a new, underexplored area for kids who have no idea what contraceptives are, why they are being used, what are the purposes, how to use them, when it is safe, what kind of contraceptives they should be looking for, if you are in trouble, where you should go. Sometimes there are dangers of abortion that we go through because the girl child has no idea where to go and report the incident that has happened with her and what medical assistance she could avail, because it is being neglected, because it is being kept in that particular point, it is unknown to them. It becomes very difficult for them to access the right information. They fall in wrong hands, go to touts and stuff, go for abortion, and sometimes results in what? Complete destruction of the ovarian system, complete damage of the reproductive systems, and that little poor child, because of one mistake in her life, may lose the opportunity of becoming a mother in her future life. So these very challenges that we have in our society needs to be looked in a very different light. Just like our education and awareness that we have for environment, just like we have education and awareness that we have for our moral values, it is important, I sincerely believe, in every schools and colleges to have these basic tenets of sex education where people get to know about contraceptives. Because without this education, in spite of having contraceptives, people are unaware how to use them, where to get them, what are their uses, what are their implications, and what right choices do I need to make. We do not even, if you go to any Western universities, you will see like there are hundreds of booklets related to various psychological diseases, mental diseases, sexual disease, booklets and brochures left outside for students in various languages. We do not have this system. At least if we could have scientifically written, medically approved, proper facilities for students to learn, like which are the safe sex practices, what are the do's, what are the don'ts, what are the good touches and bad touches, which is just primarily come upon into a school education system. Our time has changed. The education that I am denying the kids, they're getting the education from social media, from mobile phones, and every other wrong sources with all kinds of wrong implications that is impacting their life and their mental growth. So contraceptives are important not only for population control, as we understand, it is way more important now for prevention of STDs or sexually transmitted disease. This very modern aspect of contraceptives is totally unaware to our younger generation. And that's the reason they practice unsafe sex, and they become a threat not only for themselves, but the sexually transmitted disease that they are incorporating, whether it is syphilis, gonorrhea, genital papilloma viruses, or genital herpes, or HIV, and other related, or hepatitis also now has been found to be sexually transmitted. People are not just even aware of what they are doing. And without using those contraceptives, they are making their lives vulnerable. And if you are married, you are bringing back those diseases and transferring to your partners. So this is dangerous for the society. This is dangerous for the health system to look after. And it is dangerous for the mental growth of an individual who is just reached that teenage and has no idea of what's waiting for him or her in this new world of hormonal changes and balances that he or she is experiencing, and what help should be there. Very recently, counselors are being employed in the school system so that students having specific problems, they can go and talk to the counselor, and the counselor can give them advice. They can send them to the doctor. They can send them to the director to talk to a teacher, or get their parents and provide them the necessary help. This was unheard of when we were students at this particular point of time. But in most cases, I do not think that the students feel comfortable enough to go and report any of these sexual challenges, problems, queries, and questions that they have. I have seen in Western schools, they have a very nice model where a female teacher will come, address a female students and stuff, and the questions they have a box. Everyone has a piece of paper. You do not have to put your name. There should not be any identification. If you have any question or concern, you can write and put that in the box. And once this is done, the teacher will come back. He or she will look through the questions, sieve through them, and answer to those questions one by one without individually pointing to anyone who may or may not have written those particular questions. But why these questions are being said directly in public? Because the question raised by one student regarding contraceptive may be relevant to another student who may be shy in asking that same particular questions. So it is very important that these education and awareness about contraceptive sexual education is being provided to the students and the teenagers, and particularly young couples at the time. I have come across many young couples, particularly from rural areas, who do not have enough education and stuff, or doing menial jobs or hard labors and stuff, do not have any idea of use of contraceptives, because they are partly educated, they have dropped out when they were in standard 6, 8, or 10 and things like that, and have never had the proper opportunity to go through learning these systems and how to use them. So when they're coming to the doctors with unwanted pregnancies or with unwanted sexual challenges or diseases that it could have easily been prevented had they had a proper education and awareness about the contraceptives. So with this, I conclude my presentation emphasizing once more that in addition to our health systems where contraceptives and other accessory materials are available, it is very important to make them available through the part of the knowledge to the group that are mostly vulnerable and not being able to use it properly because of lack of education, social stigma, shyness, and lack of awareness. We need to break this cycle, make this information easily available, and help them to understand why it is important and how it could help in preventing unwanted pregnancies as well as preventing sexually transmitted diseases. Thank you very much, Dr. Sharma. It has been a pleasure once again to be on your platform. Thank you. Happy Navratri to you and your family one more time.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, doctor. Thank you very much.
You are welcome.
Now I would like to request Dr. Nishant Shukla ji. Nishant Shukla ji is with us. Nishant ji, है क्या? चलिए, बहुत अच्छा लगा, दोनों का हुआ। थैंक यू। सीपी शर्मा सर, आदरणीय सीपी शर्मा, आदरणीय सीपी शर्मा जी तक मेरी आवाज जा रही है?
थैंक यू। बाय मिस्टेक
पेमेंट डन।